So today our lesson is on the Sigalovada Sutta. The schedule for next week for this sutra is also on Wednesday. Next Monday and Tuesday is the same that we'll have Vimalakirti Sutra. Wednesday is Sigalovada Sutra. Thursday, Friday is the Vajrayana classes. That's not going to be broadcasted in English. So for Sigalovada Sutra, we've already finished the previous chapters, or the previous content, where we talked about the 4 actions that should be stopped or you should not conduct, the 4 evil actions, the desire, the 3 poisons, as well as fear. So those are the 4 that we talked last time. If we don't have these 4 impure actions, as well as the 4 harmful causes, harmful deeds that's rooted in the 4 causes, then we'll be able to attain higher birth, higher rebirth. This sutra may seem to be very simple, nothing difficult to understand. In fact, the content is very useful and really important, especially since we've been promoting this idea of implementing Buddhism into daily life. Let it be that you're a lay practitioner or a monastic. Everyone needs to make a livelihood, to live well, and within this process, without the spiritual guidance of Buddhism, well, you could get by. Everyone could use different methods and different ways to get by life, especially under such a background of globalism, of multiculturalism. Everyone has their different ways and different choices and freedom of making those choices as well. If some people have faith towards Buddhism, then I think you should think about how to integrate the philosophy of Buddhism within your lifestyle. During our after-class oral exams, sometimes we have different content or different subject. Some of them are about how to engage Buddhism into daily life, and some are about the present days, the very days content that we learned. And I noticed everyone did a really good job in the past few days. Especially regarding how to implement Buddhism into daily life. Yesterday, someone during her presentation, she said something. Well, maybe I won't recite it. I think she did a good presentation, and people really enjoyed her presentation. I think that's all I wanted to say. I think it's quite important that people try to implement our philosophy or the classes that we've been taking. All of these knowledge that we learned, how to implement into our daily life is quite important. In fact, it's not just the knowledge, you can use it. And once you do use it and you do implement it, it could bring lots of benefits to yourself as well as others. So, in terms of the Buddhism teachings as well as meditation, once you finish learning them, I really hope that you do not take my words for granted and forget about it right after listening, because every time I really do spend lots of effort, and simply by my personal effort, it won't really make any difference. And therefore, I really call up on all of your attention to join in the forces and make a difference. I myself, I may not be a person that's so prolific or so knowledgeable, but I've spent the past 30, 40 years in studying Buddhism, especially the Sutrayana and Vajrayana texts, as well as other religions. And I've put lots of time in contemplating them as well. I think my words do have some value in terms of inspiration. Therefore, I really hope that you take some time to think about how to implement Buddhism into your daily life, how to implement Buddhism into your daily life. Maybe it may seem on the surface that this all look really ancient. This text may look irrelevant to our daily life. But after a very deep contemplation, and after thinking about it, this teaching that's from 2,500 years ago still are very timely, are very needed in this time. When we look back at the time of 2,500 years ago, look at this text that's taught at that time, it is still very much applicable at this time. So we can see how Buddhism is very much relevant and very much modern, very much practical to our modern life. What the Buddha described as a noble person, as a person who's good, who is respectable, then that person is still, that standard is still applicable to nowadays. And once you violate those kind of rules, you cannot even call them the kind of person that's respectful in this society either, although despite different laws from different countries and regions, but that general standards still applies. After last few classes teaching on the basic value and moral principles, today we're going to talk about the financial morality, or how to manage your finances, how to manage your money. So from today onwards, we're going to talk about how Buddha at this time talking to Sigalovada about the 6 ways of squandering wealth. The first one is indulging in alcohol, in intoxication. That's the first one. And the second one is indulge in compulsive gambling. And the third one is heedlessness. In different editions, the translations are different. Sometimes it is translated as getting into different places at inappropriate time, roaming on street at different times, at inappropriate times. And there are translations. There's this translation edition where it says sexual misconduct. And the other one is indulging in entertainment and music. The fifth one is in bad companionship, and then the other one is laziness. So those are the 6 things, 6 ways of squandering one's wealth. So in this life, in this world, people all really like wealth. They really enjoy having abundant wealth. But by practicing these 6 ways, not only you're not able to increase the amount of wealth, you will lose your wealth. So this kind of 6 ways not only will make you lose your wealth, it will make you have bad reputation as well. According to the letter to a friend, a letter to a friend by Arya Nagarjuna, where it says that gambling, watching crowds, being lazy, relying on evil company, drinking, and going about at night, these 6 actions cause loss of reputation and lead to lower realms. So gambling, attending parties, laziness, being bad companionship, drinking, and getting into villages at inappropriate time at late nights. So those are the 6 things that would ruin one's reputation. Heedlessness and laziness. In fact, heedlessness also is part of being distracted in partying or in entertainment. Dances and singing, those could be part of getting into villages at night, getting into bars, clubs, those kind of places. So that's also considered as inappropriate. So according to Nagarjuna, these are the 6 ways of causing loss of reputation for people. Even if a king goes to the gambling place, goes to casino all the time, drinking, get drunk all the time, goes to places that's very distracting, and being bad companionship, and then other people won't rely on such a bad king. This is not. In fact, people may say that this is just how people would consider as a Buddhist or from ancient India. But let's discuss about this with our wisdom. Let's analyze it with our wisdom. In fact, nowadays, even if this person is not a great king, if it's just a very small official who associates himself with bad company and often goes to entertainment places as clubs and bars, then how would his employees say about him? We can imagine they would probably also talk about him in a way of saying that, well, this person often goes to places and that's really not good. Nowadays, those professors and those teachers and people who have good status in society, they wouldn't associate themselves with this kind of environment at all. Even we let go of religious affairs or religious aspect, we can see this is the general rule of the society. If a person often goes and drinks, if a president of a country, leader of a country, often drinks and gambles, then people wouldn't consider that a good leader of the country, isn't it? A person who is So, despite whether you are Buddhist or not, all these kind of all those kind of rules do not really apply just to the Buddhist. In fact, it is it applies to the whole society. I met some officials before who is considered as a good politician. In my memory, he really enjoys study. Let it be politics or religion, he's very much into study. Whenever I talk to him, he said that I don't drink, I don't go gambling, and he fits all the rules of the letter to a friend. As a person who has that kind of self-discipline, I think they would very naturally just follow those kind of rules. Anyhow, there's a sutra that's called the action or activities of a bodhisattva. I can't remember whether if it's a sutra or it's a teaching. Can't remember what type of text it is. But within it, it says that a king should follow 5 rules, or should rather avoid these 5 activities. The first one is gambling, second is intoxication, third one is dwell in lust, fourth one is hunting, and the fifth one is not listening to good advice from his people. Because if he does any of those, then he would lose his country, he would lose the trust of his people. Therefore, in our world, maybe there are people who are talking about it's wonderful to drink, it's good to entertain yourself. Nowadays, there are some alcohol that's really expensive, and people would consider if you can provide alcohol, that would be very luxurious. However, does such luxury prove that wine and alcohol is good? Then it's not. If more people says that it's good, does it mean that it's really good? The value cannot be set just by the majority people's opinion. The value is different in different countries as well as in different times. So as Buddhist or non-Buddhist, but as long as you have a sense of responsibility and a sense of taking your life seriously and want to discover your life more, then you should really think about all these advices that's provided in the sutra. If you do consider that all the sutra said is correct, then you can follow it. If you don't think that's correct, then you can let it go. That's not a problem. I think it would be very healthy and very helpful for your life if you can just study and contemplate upon it. Now, there are 6 ways that squandering wealth.
So now
Buddha told Sigalovada said that if the elder or the son of elderly could know these 4 types of harmful actions as well as the 6 ways of squandering one's wealth, then Sigalovada, if you can avoid these 4 types of harmful actions and then offer to the 6 directions, Why 6 directions? Because Sigalovada was really curious about what Buddhism say about worshipping the 6 directions. So the Buddha then told him that if you can avoid these 4 types of harm, and avoid the 6 types of ways of squandering your wealth, and then you can worship the 6 directions. I think such worshipping is very good. Worshipping the Buddhist bodhisattvas of different directions and offering to the protectors and dakinis. Once you are a good person, and then do that, then it doesn't matter if it's Buddhas and bodhisattvas, dakinis and protectors, they'll grant you blessings. But if you don't do those, if you conduct all of those harmful actions, if you are not a good person to start with, then it doesn't matter how much you worship all those Buddhas and bodhisattvas, won't help you at all, isn't it? Just like a filthy room cannot attract those Buddhas and bodhisattvas to come. So now the 6 ways of squandering wealth, which include 6 under each, that comes to 36 types of dharmas, and then the previous 8 that you should devoid of, and then that comes to the 44 types of dharmas. So, if you're a good person, even if you don't make offering to Buddhists and bodhisattvas, if you don't make offering to your guru, then all the protectors are still going to protect you because you're a good person. So this lifetime, it is good for this lifetime as well as for the next lifetime. It is good for your this lifetime's foundation as well as for the next lifetimes. In Tibetan, we say that whether a good person or bad, you can tell that person's characteristic from people's gossip, or it's hard to translate the next part. Anyhow, if people do give you praise, it does have value, although you don't have to care about it too much. Just as everyone talks about, if everyone talks about this cup is really good, it has really good quality where it can keep the tea warm for a long period of time, then people will buy it and people would consider that it's good quality. Similarly, people also have quality, and if others would praise that person, then it has some truth in it. And for the wise one, if they practice in such a way, they will be reborn in the celestial realm and receive all the good karmas. On this part, some of the text has this part in their edition and some doesn't. Maybe it's based on the different types of edition and texts from India. Based on Anshgal's version as well as the long course or medium course, long discourse as well as the medium discourse of the Buddha, all different editions are different. I believe we can study any kind of the text because many different banditas who transcribed all of these sutras. Just like when people listen to the teacher's audio tape, and the person 1 may have a very different transcription than the person 2's transcription. So there could be some differences in terms of the additions. That's the general summary of the next part. Now let's talk about the 36 types of dharma, so 36 types of things. First of all, there are 6 dangers in the inherent in heedlessness caused by intoxication. Loss of immediate wealth, just like when people drink and then they would lose their wealth very quickly, and then they would spend it really heedlessly. When I was young, the school was really not a very good school, and my teacher was teaching us how to drink. And there are 2 particular characteristics that you get after getting drunk. And the first one is that you could get really generous. It's fine, I can spend the money now, and later if I run out of money, I'll just borrow some. And the second one is getting into fights. I remember this story where at the time of graduation, I got drunk once, and then I saw my teacher approaching, who I usually fear a lot. But after drinking, I felt like it's okay. He can come, he can approach, and I'll just fight him over. So the first one is the loss of wealth. Second one is getting sick, getting illness. People who have illness in their liver, then it's very easy for them, susceptible for them to get ill once they get drunk and they drink lots of wine and alcohol. Just as when doctor asks if someone who has a liver illness, the doctor would suggest them not to drink. In fact, not only liver, it is even for people who don't keep up with good health, or even with good health. Drinking is not a good. Drinking is really not good. I think back in 2012-ish, at that time it said that the people who died of drinking of alcohol was about 88 million in United States. Many people died because of the consumption of alcohol. Not only in United States, in different countries, in different parts of the world. This is rather quite dangerous. Sometimes we don't feel this way. We feel that if we don't have alcohol, then how could you talk to each other frankly and open-heartedly? Lots of the Vajra words from the modern pop songs, they talk about drinking a lot. But really, after drinking, what kind of person would you turn out to be? Have you ever considered that? Just as Sakya Pandita said in the aphorisms, he said that after drinking, people just get really crazy. People may feel not happy to start with, that's why they drink. But after drinking, they get really drowsy and dizzy and tipsy, just like Ati, a practitioner. The third one is The third one is increased quarreling. Someone came to me the other day. He came to me and said that I did something really shameful and I really need to repent. I was eating and drinking with a group of people, and then I was fighting over, and someone finally fight me over, and I felt so ashamed. I think when you're really drunk, you will have the kind of mentality of wanting to fight, but really lost the ability of fighting. After drinking, you get into this really ugly state of the worst side of yourself. In fact, there are about 35 types of faults that you will engage in once you get drunk, such as gambling, such as getting naked, no shame, and anger, getting into fights, and so on. There are about 35 of them. After you get drunk, you have this aggression within you, and very easily to get ignited. Even if someone just said something very menial and nothing important could ignite their anger. That's why some family get into fights after someone in the family, after the father of the family get back home after drinking. They might hit their children, their wife, or so on. It directly stimulated because the alcohol directly stimulates your brain, therefore you will lose wisdom as well. That's the fifth one. Fifth fault that alcohol or intoxication could get to you. Many people may praise the taste or the function of wine in certain events or circumstances, but really when it gets into our body, it doesn't really create any benefit. Some people may say that it's okay, you can drink a little bit of red wine, it's healthy, and you can get a little relaxed. It makes you feel feel quite relaxed and laid back. Therefore, I think you should drink some wine. However, the benefit is very minimal compared to the harm that it brings. Just as the great Prajnaparamita Shastra, where it says that the benefit where it brings is really great, but the harm it brings, the benefit it brings is very minimal, but the harm it brings is very great. The happiness, the relaxation, the sense of ease and open-heartedness, and ease on expression, especially after alcohol. This is tea, not wine. What are you laughing about? It's just tea. In fact, the faults of drinking wine are a lot. Many may feel happiness, a sense of ease after drinking wine, but according to the Sutra of Right Mindfulness, it says that people who drink alcohol, they will desire for the good taste, but not worrying for the fruition, that for the undesirable fruition, though. So for many people who drink alcohol, they may feel that drinking is a sense of enjoyment, but they never really considered about the undesirable fruition that comes out of drinking, just as lose of control and speak of the secret that they were supposed to keep and vomiting, all of those shameful deportments. So as Buddhists, you should try to keep your distance with alcohol. I heard some Buddhists some good Buddhists who actually do drink alcohol. If you have not taken the precept of stopping yourself from drinking, then it's very difficult to keep other precepts. As the Buddha said that you should take the precept of should keep the precepts of stop drinking alcohol and stop taking intoxication. That's what you should take if you only take one precept. In the Pratimoksha vows precepts where it says if you even it is included in the forest of Gem in the garden of the Dharma, where it says that the Buddha admonished all bhikkhus, anyone who claims to be my follower shall never drink alcohol, not even one drop, as little as the dew on the grass tip. Even the dew that's on the tip of the grass, you should not drink such drop of alcohol. Then you can be considered as a genuine Buddhist. If you drink alcohol, if you're non-Buddhist, then I really can't say much, but if you're a Buddhist, you are a rather devoted Buddhist who practiced in Nongzhou, who studied for many years. So I think you should really refrain from drinking at all, because once you drink, and if you drink, it brings lots of unfavorable conditions to your practice and to your path. Yes, in Vajrayana practice, there are special practices such as drinking, such as eating flesh, but that's really just for people with a very high level of realization. This is really not that easy. Therefore, whenever you are conducting your own actions, you should make sure that your actions are pure and be in accordance with the Buddha's request. Do not even touch one drop of alcohol, as little as the dew on the grass tip. During the course, yes, there are people talking about talk offering as well as making offering to the protectors, yes, there are such actions like that, but that's really just as how Rosso Mandita said, those are really just part of the material to initiate a good origination. And you don't necessarily have to have it. In fact, there are people who don't even understand it. And in such circumstances, then you can make such offering with soft drink or tea. Those are all fine. In Tibet, in Bhutan, and different places like that where people grew up in such kind of environment where they do understand of the meanings of making offering to the protectors and talk offering with alcohol and meat. They don't really have any misunderstandings or any bad explanations or perception of those, then that's fine. But in places where people generally don't understand it, I think you should try to avoid such misunderstandings. Also, do not throw those offerings after used them during the protector's offering. Do not throw it anywhere. I think it's best to you can keep it to a place, and then later you can put it in some clean grass or clean tip of a mountain where the birds could eat it, including cities. Some Buddhists would throw out those offerings and throw it to the top of the buildings. That's not good, because nowadays this age is very different. In Tibet, it used to be a place where we have lots of large plateaus, and therefore it's not really a problem. But nowadays, in Larungar, where so many people live, then if everyone throw their used offerings everywhere, it looks really messy. And some of the offerings are just kept in plastic bags, and then the yak would just eat everything with the plastic bag. Afterwards, after the yak ate it, the yak would also die from it. Then yes, you do get merits from making offering to the protectors, but also you killed a yak. And sometimes the yaks would kept on leaking the wine that you offered to the protectors before, and then the yaks got all drunk and started getting tipsy. Also, you need to be very careful. Those yaks could be very aggressive after drinking such a large amount of wine. They could get very unfriendly, to say the least. Yesterday, we learned the story of a bhikshu who died from a king who died from the horn stabbing of an ox in India during the Buddha's time. So it is the best that you keep yourself away from the yaks, especially the drunk ones. Anyhow, making offering, it is best not to create troubles for others and not to create misunderstandings for others and not to create misconceptions they might have for Vajrayana Buddhism. I know Buddhists, especially Buddhists from mainland, they get really super enthusiastic about making offerings and making all those rituals. But when it comes to listening, studying, and contemplation, then they get rather not so enthusiastic anymore. Anyhow, it was about the different faults that comes from drinking alcohol. So Sigalaka, then the Buddha said to him, if people continue to drink, cannot stop from drinking, then all the family wealth will continue to deduct and eventually go bankruptcy. Many people could get to a really rather miserable state where some people lose all their family, their home, and they're just wandering on the street without any home. Whenever you give them food, they don't want it, they just want money so that they can go buy alcohol. They're they live in such kind of a poor state. Of course, there are people and the state of or their livelihood or lifestyle. We should of course respect them, but I think to Buddhists we should really question ourselves that as a person who has such belief, who has such status, who has such a kind of background, then from my personal perspective, I should be able to distinguish right from wrong.
下面呢就是讲到这个第二个六法，就是这个佛告诉善色呢，就是说这个不喜呢，就是也有六法，就是也有六法。
saying that
那何为六
there
法
are
过
the
失呢？
six dangers
做这个赌博的话呢，就是也是一样的，就是第一个呢
inherent
就是
in
这个财产
compulsive
就是好
gambling.
就是这个赌博的人呢，我们
Winning
都知道，就是就
breeds
一般以前有钱的话呢，
resentment.
就是他就经常去赌场去这个赌
People
博去了，
with
最后呢。
money, sometimes they would go to casinos and then they would lose all their wealth.
家破人亡，有很多人是这样的，这个大家也应该清楚的。第二则的话呢，虽然已经这个获得了跟别人赌的过程当中获得胜利，
So the loser mourns lost property, but the winning breeds resentment.
这种这个关系的话呢，就是没办法，就是因为你今天就是给别人这个就输了的话，你赢了呢，
you lost today,
在信，所以呢，你的这种
and then you would keep such resentment for the winner in your mind. In such a way,
护法僧者啊，就是呵责，甚至我们实践当中的这个智者呢，就像我刚才讲的一样的，就是大家都会哇。
people whomsoever with wisdom, they would definitely scold people like such, whomsoever gamble often. In our world, if we see someone who continue to gamble in our society, in our modern time, we often, of course, we don't have trust to them either. So the fourth one is that such kind of people who indulge in gambling, they're not trustworthy. In our school, there was a teacher who gambled and cried a lot, and then I had lots of pity towards her. She borrowed a lot of money, and she kept on saying that, okay, I'll repay back the money, I'll repay you tomorrow, but never really fulfill her words. This teacher, when she was introduced to our school, I felt that I should help her because I think she really needed help. But later on, after she kept on lying and not keeping up her words, not being trustworthy, doesn't matter how much she cried, I felt very differently about her afterwards and everyone else. Gambling in some countries are legal and in some countries are not. In United States, in Las Vegas, which is largest casino, as well as Macau, where their major income comes from gambling. Billions of dollars come in from gambling industry. But does gambling bring us health and benefits? No. So people's actions are very laughable in terms of this. The fifth one is getting distant with friends and family members. People whomsoever are close to him are no longer close. And the sixth one is one would have the mind of stealing. They would have this kind of malicious mind of harming others to gain wealth. In the teachings of the Vinaya, where it says, where it told a story that in a family, the father has two sons. The first son is very good at business, and second son, who would squander 200 gold coins whenever he gets it. Every time, in total 600 gold coins, and the second son squandered all of them. The father couldn't really do much to help their second son anymore. And then the second son had to leave the hometown and then got to know a bad friend, and eventually to certain circumstances, the second son told his friend that his father is rather rich, and therefore he should go and kill his father to get the money. And that's exactly what his bad friend did. So gambling could really cause such a problem of making people lose their sanity. Not sure how you feel about gambling. Whenever in my hometown, around my village, people get really scared when they hear the name of gambling. There are so many places, small places, for gambling nowadays. And all those casinos or small casinos or game places that have such business, they're rather really smart. At first, they would purposely lose money to people so that they could attract them. At first, they would give money to people, and people could earn money really quickly. But eventually, they would lose money, lose lots of money. One of my far relatives who at first got into gambling, and he was really happy that he got about 70,000 RMB at the beginning, and he won it, and he was drinking, he was really happy and told everyone. And then eventually he continued his habits in this and then lost about 200,000, and then he kept on holding on to it, and eventually got psychologically insane and couldn't really think straight anymore. Therefore, the Buddha said that if the person continued to gamble, then the wealth will continue to deduct, continue to lose. So for Buddhists who really enjoy gambling, I don't think that there are people who really enjoy this kind of actions. But you should really watch your mind, because in this modern world,
怎么讲呢？就是非常说不清楚的一个时代啊，就是在这个过
In
程
this
当中
world,
的话，那就是应该会有一些。不过有时候的话呢，我们就是也可能比较我的今天就是给别人就是怎么说，这不叫赌博吧，就是最后那个大赌，就是最后呢就是输了16块钱，然后
I was
这个不叫吧，就是吧，
I
不
was
叫赌博吧，
betting
是
with
吧？
someone and I
就这
lost
件事
about
情我说是
16
对的
yuan.
他说
I
他说
said
是
it
不
was
对的，然后
right,
最
and
后
the other
说
one
起来
said
我们
it's
会有这样的，有时
incorrect.
会有这样的，但
And
这个倒是
I don't think
不称为
that's
赌博，
but
真正的
I
这
I
个
don't
赌博
think
呢，
that's
就是
gambling.
还是
A
有
true
很多的这
gambling
个
really
这种
has
胜负之
lots
心吧，
of
就是这种
faults, and
我
the
得
faults
到
that
这个
comes
胜利，
from
然
the
后
kind
一
of
定要相应。
mentality
其
of
实现在的这
losing
个股
and
票的话
winning.
呢，也有时候是也有这样的，就是
Just
就自己呢就
as
是得到很多的，
people's
别人呢就
mentality
是
in
也可
stock
能
market sometimes
不
as
得
well.
得到的时候自己特别快乐，
Whenever
不得到
you
的时
are
候也
winning, you
是
feel
非
really
常这个
happy.
上心的。
Whenever you
就是
lose,
我
you
当然
feel
这个股
really
票呢，就
upset.
炒股呢也不说是赌
Of
博，
course,
但是
stock
呢，实际上我
buying
们
stock,
这个
trading in
实践当
stocks
中
are
的话呢，
not
就是这
considered
种
as
赌场的行
gambling.
为呢，就是
But
胜负
this
是
kind
非
of
非常严重的。
gambling
那么这个
mentality
呢，作为
could
佛教徒
really
来讲
drag
应
you
该是
into a
要
quagmire.
这个平息啊，就
So
是
we
有一
should
个叫做是这个专辑
rather
白眼
ease
睛
our
讲
mind.
到，就是说是福则胜于
In
这
the
个
century
三
of
则呢，
noble
就是坏
deeds,
心
it
性
says that
啊，就是
losing
如果我
causes
们这个失败的
worry
时候呢，
and
就是
fear.
恐惧心
Winning
获得
brings
胜利的
delight
时候呢，
and
就是有欢喜
celebration.
心呐。若
If
能
competition
胜
is
负
pacified,
最妙第一
one
了
would
就是如
obtain
果
the
我们
most excellent
就是
and
这个胜
surpassable
和负的
happiness.
就是心就是得到平等
So
的话呢，
once
那么
our
我们实践
winning
当中是应
and
该是这个
losing mind
最
get
快乐
to
的
be
吧，就是最快
pacified,
乐
the
的。
sense of competition is
所以呢，
pacified,
就
then
是
we
讲
can
到
be
这
the
个
happiest.
这种这个赌博啊，
So that's
赌博的话
gambling.
呢，就是也是这样的内容。下面呢就是讲到就是放荡的这个六法，就是那么放荡呢，就
Next
是有些
one,
注释当中啊，就
It's
是只好都
roaming
是讲
the
的是这个
street
泄
at
淫。
inappropriate
其实
time.
这里放
In
荡的话呢，
Jidu's version,
我
it
们
says
能
that
够
it's
在
sexual
二国教里
misconduct.
面讲很多这个
In
放逸啊，放逸的
Miparn
过失啊。
Buche's two conducts where he actually referred to this as heedlessness. If this person is so heedless,
这个就是放荡了，
he
就是他握不
lost
住，就
all
什么
his
事情都没有什么
self-control.
没有什么控制力，
There's
没
nothing
有
could
政治
control
这
him.
面
He doesn't
这
have
种
right
行为呢，也
mindfulness.
是在这里呢，就是
So
指的这个
this
是指有
is
6
what it
有
refers
6
over here.
就是
It
第一
also
个
has
特
6
别放
kinds
荡的
of
人呢，不
faults.
护自身啊，也就是不会保护自己的身体。
6
啊
kinds
就
of
是特别放
dangers.
荡的人或者邪淫的人呢，
So the first
就是
one
他
is
就可
not
能会
protecting one's own
染
body.
上了这个艾滋病啊，就是染上了
If
许
a
多传染
person
病啊，
who
就是连
doesn't
自己
have
的这种身
any
体
good
这种
control
防护
over
意识
himself
都没有，
or
对自身
conducted
呢就
to
有点
sexual
就不要说
misconduct,
别人
then
的，连自己的身体都没有这个防护的意识。
illness such
第二
as
个呢，就
AIDS
是
and
不
so
顾
on
财
could
富啊，就是那种特别
be
放荡的
the
人的话
result
呢，
of
可
such
能
actions,
就是
such
保护
frivolous
财产呐，
actions.
就是不浪
And the
费啊，
second one
啊，或
is
者说
not
爱护
protecting
财产呐，
one's
甚至
wealth,
可能借别人的钱呐，甚至
borrowing
可能
others'
就是父
money,
母的这个钱呐，就是全部
using
都
the parents'
就
money,
有些啃老，就是什么啃老族一样的，就是全部都就吃光了，就是但他也不在乎，
and
无所谓
squandering
啊，
all
这种
the
放荡
wealth
的
that's
是这样。
accumulated
然后
by
第
the
三个的
parents.
话呢，就是不护
The
自
third
己
one is
特
not
别
protecting
放荡的这些人的话
one's
呢，就是他根本
children,
不顾自己的什么自己的儿子
one's
妻子啊，
family,
或者说是不孝顺父母啊，或者说是对
not
自己的子孙
being
啊、朋友啊、亲人啊，
not
什么
being
都不在乎。
responsible for one's
有些人
family,
真的这样的，
not
他连
caring
自己的这个
for
生活
his
都没
own
办法，
family,
所以
his
更何况说
own
是他的什么
relatives.
子女啊，就家庭啊，这些人顾得上呢，就没办法的，就这些人。第四个呢，就是
Fourth
肠
one
子
is
肠子那个情绪啊，
often
就是
feel
这种
afraid
人呢
and
就是他
scared.
经常呢就是处于一种患得患失啊，
They're
就是忐
often
忑
in
不
the
安，
same
就是
in the
具
kind
有
of
这种恐惧
mentality
心啊，
of
具有愉悦心啊。
unease, of
因为自己
worrying,
呢
of
就是特别
fear.
放荡的
Because
到
when
最
you
后呢
really
就是没有这个
lost
安
a
全
sense of
感啊，就是自己也
self-control,
是
you
就
really
是
don't
经常
have
会
a
带有
sense
这种
of
恐慌的
security.
那么第五个呢，就是住
The fifth
就
one
是恶法
is
肠子所产生，就是他因为
lots
握不住
of
吧，就是有
the
很多的恶法，有这些恶法的话呢，就是经常掺着
evil
自己的身
deeds
体特别放荡的人呢，我
are
们都知道，就是有些人因为特
lots
别
of
放荡
evil
可能
deeds
他
are
去一些这个不
around
亲近的场合，做一些就是各种各样的
because
坏
they could get into different inappropriate circumstances and harmful circumstances, where they may be stealing and have sexual misconducts, and then also breaking the law. And in such a way, they don't feel sense of security because they're so fearful. They've done so many bad deeds, and all the evil deeds brings the bad fruitions. They could be caught in the prison, they could be locked up, or the kind of evil or the kind of unfortunate fate will always follow them. Whenever I see people who spend time just listening and studying over here, that's all they do over here. They don't have so many chaotic business nowadays that modern people get into, where their life get really messy. They get involved in many different things and ended up with lots of pressure. So when I look at all the practitioners over here, the very good Buddhists around the world, I see that they can really spend a very nice and pure lifestyle. That's very good. But people who lost control of themselves, they're not like that. And the next one is they really enjoy bragging and boasting themselves, always are very much a hypocrite, where their conduct could be rather somewhere in the air, not grounded. Whenever we hear the speech of others, we can hear that, we can feel that this person really is not a grounded person, really is not a person with right mindfulness. And we can get that from the person's speech. So those are the 6 dangers and 6 faults of being heedlessness. And if you have such kind of conduct, then the wealth of oneself would decrease day by day and not come to good fruition in one's life. In Vinaya Sutra, it has a story where it says that there are 3 sons. The 3 sons are all really disappointing. The first one's really lustful, the second one really enjoyed hunting, and then enjoyed gambling, and they have all of those bad conduct. Then their father wholeheartedly tried to convince them that their actions are not good, but they don't listen. Eventually, the father decided that he's not going to support the 3 sons' actions anymore financially. And then the 3 sons slowly give up their evil actions because they eventually give up their bad actions. And the father said that if you stop doing all of those things that you did before and started to take refuge and take the precepts from the Buddha, if you take the 3 vows, then I'll give you 3,000. And if you take 5 vows, I'll give you 5,000. How's that? And then the 3 sons all agreed, and they received the money, financial support from the father. And slowly they became good people. In fact, in our life, we may have those conducts because of because of the bad company or because of bad environment. I met a Buddhist in England. He said that he was a hippie during the 70s, and he made lots of bad companies and did lots of unvirtuous deeds until after he met a good teacher, and then that's when his mind then comes back to the home harbor where he felt more secure and at home. At that time, when he was young, he felt that everything was reasonable. He felt happy. He felt that was the way of life until he met a good teacher and a good spiritual guide, and then put his time and energy into practice, and that's when he felt that his mind is really at ease. Maybe because he did so many bad things, unvirtuous things at a young age, he really didn't have any regrets. And that's when, at older age, he gave up everything and just practice. And that's when he felt that was the right thing to do. And those things that he used to do was not the genuine cause for happiness, just like the three children of the father that we heard. Nowadays, the teenagers, they would leave home, or they would leave their family and just get into the wrong crowd, and they would drink, they would buy drugs, they would do drugs such as laughing gas to parties, and then slowly get addicted. And then their mind is no longer being able to be controlled anymore. The students who go to foreign countries, they go to different parties, they would eat something that looks like candies or looks like brownies, and then after eating them, they get into this hallucination ecstasy state. So some drugs, some bad companies, and some of those causes are so very much permeated in our society nowadays. And if we don't get out of those, we will dwell our life in those, and will waste our whole life in those unvirtuous deeds, which is such a pity. In the West, especially the West, homeless people would take their comforter and all of their belongings, and they may be someone famous before, but now they're homeless, and they hold such resentment and grudge towards the society, towards the family, and they're just wandering on the streets. All of those, in fact, comes from the value that's promoted by lots of the media. Just as how for the parents, when one parent may say something that really angers the child, and then the child would feel a sense of splitting or a sense of complete cut-off. no longer talk to the parents anymore, no longer associated with the family anymore. If the parents said that, get out, or I don't trust you anymore, all of those, it's just the words that's remembered by the child, and then the whole family falls apart. In fact, those kind of values are just taught by the media. In Tibet, I think it's not like that. If the parents said something really strict and something that's really hard to swallow, but the children still won't keep such grudge of the parents. But in the movies, in the TV shows, maybe because they want to attract people to continue to watch it, they'll take that as part of the cue to get to the second part of the story, and therefore they would show that how the child would hold such grudge. If everyone make their conduct based on the media because of one sentence, one thing that you said, if the mother said something to the daughter, if that thing really hurted the daughter, and then the relationship just really fell apart, and then the daughter would hold such grudge that even if the mother dies, the daughter doesn't even want to forgive her. I think those kind of things should be brought to our attention, especially Buddhists. I really wanted to talk about the 6, but I think we ran out of time. Okay, maybe we'll stop here. I really wanted to finish all 6. I don't think I'll be able to finish. That's okay.